straight into today's tea. So the last time we had a conversation about Doja Cat and Nicki Minaj in the same breath, we were talking about how she unprovokedly decided to name drop Nicki Minaj in one of her streams, where she was asking her cat if her name was Nicki Minaj because the cat was chewing on some cable, and the Babs really were not feeling that, and people felt like she was being disrespectful towards Nicki Minaj and was essentially clowning her or calling her unstable. That was the last time. So of course, when in an interview recently she decides to mention Nicki Minaj in a positive light, people are gonna question the intention because what is this? But anyway, in a recent interview that Doja Cat did, she had a couple of nice things to say about not only Nicki Minaj, but Young Money as a whole. She said, and I quote, when you are a lyricist, you have to have a sense of humor that goes beyond in some form. Nicki Minaj, Drake, Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, Lil Wayne, these people are not comedians, but they are. They could write a stand-up set if they wanted to, but music is much more fun. What is a rapper without a punchline? And so, of course, clearly this is her giving Nicki her flowers, saying that she is the only female that she mentioned in as far as being lyrical is concerned. But, of course, people are questioning the intention because what are you trying to sell? I mean, we've seen the plot with many people. When they are trying to gain attention and stuff like that, that's when they decide to be respectful towards her. But when they're not doing that, they obviously are very quick to discredit and disrespect her, like what Doja Cat recently did in that stream, where she was insinuating that Nicki might actually be unstable. So let me know in the comment section, you guys, are you buying the flowers that Doja Cat is out there giving Nicki Minaj? But one thing that I will say for sure is she didn't lie in as far as her being a lyricist is concerned, and in as far as a sense of humor is also concerned. She has a great sense of humor. She's very intelligent, and I do think that the really, really funny comedians are also very intelligent. That's why I don't vibe with a lot of comedy that comes from certain people, because I just feel like it's not that much witty, it's not that much intelligent. I will say that recently I felt some type of way about Trevor Noah and how he was being disrespectful to Nicki Minaj, but overall I will say that he's a very witty and smart guy. It's a pity that Hollywood has gotten him to the point where he feels like he has to say all these scripted, and not by him, by the way, but he has to conform to a certain thing in order to remain relevant in Hollywood. It's sad watching that happen, because certainly when he was coming up, I used to watch a lot of his stand-up a lot, and you could tell that there's intellect in those jokes. But anyway, that being said, let us move on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Still talking about desperation, name dropping, and sympathy. Let us talk about Lizzie. So it appears after Lizzo realized that Nicki Minaj didn't have the time of the day, no night for her, she decided to come for Azalea Banks. It seems like she's just trying to activate sympathy, but no one is giving it to her. I mean, she was running like a headless chicken, to that Netflix special, and I guess that didn't get her enough traction as she expected. They did make fun of her weight. They did make jokes surrounding her body, and it didn't activate the sympathy enough, I guess. So that's when she resorted to trying Nicki Minaj. She was essentially trying to reignite that beef between herself and Nicki Minaj, and Nicki paid her dust. And her last resort appears to be Azalea Banks, who obviously would never ever fail to clap back or respond. And I'm confused. Initially when people would come for Lizzo and people would say that, she conveniently uses her activism, for people to sympathize with her and buy her music, I will say that I just thought people were hating. I will admit that. Initially I didn't see that. I thought people were just being mean to her for no reason, and I felt like people were just, disrespecting her and coming for her because of the way she looks. So I didn't like that. But now I'm beginning to see the corniness and the predictability of how she moves and how strategically she uses that activism to sell some songs or to gain some attention. Because tell me why, out of nowhere, this woman posted a picture of herself in quotes and said, heavyweight Lizzo. I say that because I don't know if YouTube is going to allow me to say that. But yeah, she posted that and said heavyweight Lizzo. And I think that was meant to bait Nicki Minaj into responding, because I think when Nicki responded to her, when she brought up Nicki's political views, she did call her heavyweight Lizzo as well. And so she was expecting for people to now come for Nicki Minaj and stuff like that. And that didn't happen. That's when she turned around and said, I like when Azalea Banks calls me heavyweight Lizzo. It's endearing. So now it's about Azalea Banks, okay? Azalea does call her that, but initially when she posted that, she was looking for sympathy because she thought, the tweets from Nicki Minaj were going to be dug up and, she would become the victim and then she would gain a sympathy attention. But that didn't happen. So now she's trying to make it seem like it's about Azalea Banks. And people like this disgust me. Like, if you're going to do something, do it with your chest. I mean, I understand you lost some of it, but I mean, do it with your chest. Look at me talking about people's chest. If you were to see my chest, you know what? I think one thing about me is I'm comfortable talking about things that I also possess. I saw some people getting offended when I was talking about forehead surgery. The only reason why I'm comfortable talking about forehead surgery is because my forehead is also, very, the Lord was generous, when it comes to the forehead department, when it comes to me. So I'm comfortable making jokes about that. The same thing with the chest. I'm comfortable making jokes about having, a big bust because it's something that I'm, like. So yeah, I hope you guys won't be offended. But all I'm saying is that, say it with your chest. If you're gonna be out there baiting for Nicki Minaj's engagement, okay, don't try and backtrack and try and make it seem like you were talking about Azalea Banks. But of course, whenever she is summoned, Azalea doesn't play. She will always show up. She's literally like those spirits that she summons herself, okay? She will appear. You summon Azalea Banks, she will appear instantly. Like in that moment, she will come like voodoo spirits being summoned. But anyway, this says what Azalea decided to say. Azalea is insane. She said work heavyweight Lizzo. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going to continuously say heavyweight because I'm not comfortable with the F word. And she also went ahead and said, yo, I'm crying, okay? And I guess this is the attention that Lizzo was looking for. But then when it comes to Azalea Banks, unfortunately, she is brutal to everyone that here responding to you or calling you mean names is never going to activate any form of sympathy. So Lizzo, try another thing, okay? Maybe just try and perfect your craft and stuff like that and leave this whole sympathy thing alone because it's beginning to make people look at you sideways. It's not necessary, okay? Find another way to promote your album. Stop trying to rage bait people into fighting your own artistic battles using things that you are vocal about. I think I also saw another tweet from Lizzo where she was saying, oh, package those girls up, talking about Azalea's, chest. Yeah, she said, Lizzo, go pick them, titties up, please. I'm trying not to say, it with a T because you know how sensitive this platform is. And I'm just like, Azalea, please stop, okay? What do you mean pick them girls up? Like, what the F? What the hell? Anyway, let's move on. Speaking about picking girls up, insecurities and stuff like that, let's talk about Advocate BBL and her friends, okay? Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to insert the video that I'm talking about because they're out there striking everybody who reposted that video. So what happened is that on TikTok, Advovo BBL was promoting some product, some face cream or something of that sort. And I don't know who wrote the script for her. But whoever that is clearly does not like her because you could have said a lot of things about that cream. You could have included a lot of things in that ad. You really didn't have to include the fact that, well, there's no surgery or you're not touching your face whatsoever. Who is that? Who wrote that for you? That person hates you. Instead of you moving around and trying to strike people's pages and stuff like that, you know who you should strike? The person who wrote that script for you because they were certainly setting you up. Out of everybody who can make an ad talking about they haven't touched their faces or they're staying away from surgery, they chose to give that script to you. Ma'am, why are you giving Jetavia ammo for her next diss track towards you? It's not enough that she already said that you have your entire face tucked behind your ears. Now you have to unprovokedly give her more things to come at you with. Highly unnecessary. I'm not even a fan of yours, but that person, yeah, that person doesn't like you. Whoever gave you that script and said it's okay for you to go ahead with it, if I were you, I would fire that person immediately. But if it's your own brain, I don't know if you can fire your own brain now because I wouldn't put it past you to actually be that deluded to say that you don't touch your face or surgery and stuff like that. I also wouldn't put it past you to do that because sometimes the amount of delusion that you also do, show online, I'm just like, ma'am, what is this? But anyway, Ken Bobby allegedly is out there striking people on Twitter because of this. Because, he's not happy with how people are doing this because I guess the fans had started to take that and recreate videos basically inserting Nicki Minaj laughing and, some were inserting the part where JT was saying that her entire face is stuck behind her ears. So I guess they didn't like that. But I just feel like the person who did that, who wrote that ad for her, needs to be fired. Because what do you mean you didn't touch your face and all this is from a cream? Anyway, let's move on to the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Let us talk about Rick Ross. Rick Ross is still crashing out. And this is what I don't understand by people who get so obsessed with other celebrities, especially if you're a celebrity and you become obsessed with another extent. I mean, leave some of these people for us regular schmegular people, okay? Some of these things, leave it for us. You cannot be a celebrity and be obsessed to this extent because Rick Ross is out there using Drake to promote his products. The forced hate is becoming ridiculous, and they should be aligned where as a grown adult with so much beard. I don't know if the beard part was relevant, but all I'm saying is, they should be a line, there should be a boundary, there should be something where you're like, okay, I think I'm doing way too much now, because Rick Ross is becoming cornier by the day. What do you mean you're advertising your wings, your chicken wings, and you're out there starting with, oh, Drake's album this, Drake's album that, oh, it's going down? Like, what is this? Where is Meek Mill? Somebody get me Kisha, so that he can go and talk to Rose. And he will stop this nonsense. But then again, Mikisha is probably crashing out on Twitter there, crying about the Diddler and Lace Front and how they played him. So no one is there to put Rick Ross in check or to help him out. And French Montana also is disassociating himself publicly from this man. So really, maybe nobody is there to bring him back to reality because it's giving he's in another he's in another planet or something like that. Speaking about Drake and how people are forcefully hating his album, let's talk about Charlamagne. At this point, I don't know if I should even still be talking about the Breakfast Club because it's almost very predictable. Everything they are going to say about someone is something that we already know, and we probably know the commentary by now, including Lion Rosa, everyone. Because tell me why Charlamagne is out there admitting that he didn't listen to the album, but then he's still rating it the worst album. So how does that really work? I just need to know how big are the skeletons that Charlamagne has in his closet that have him acting this crazy and low IQ, because there's no way a grown man would intentionally or voluntarily want to embarrass themselves like this. There's no way he would want to reduce everything that he's worked for in radio to this. There isn't. There has to be something that Lace Front has on him. It's not normal. The hate is so forced. Like, oh my god, ew, disgusting. You surely cannot be out there oiling your head every single morning, putting oil on your bald head to come and embarrass yourself on radio like this, Charlamagne. There's gotta be a limit, you know? You've got to be able to stop somewhere. How are you rating an album that you haven't even listened to? If you don't want to listen to the album, it's okay. But then don't rate it. Because, I mean, if it is your job to rate an album, at least value your job enough to go and listen to the album so that you can give a rating. And speaking of Charlamagne, I just know Ibro is coming and I'm already annoyed. Just thinking about his commentary and what he's about to say is getting me annoyed right now. Together with the Joe Buttons and the like. So far, none of them have said anything aside Charlamagne. And maybe they're waiting for the script and stuff like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they all came out saying the same thing. But anyway, you guys, let me go. Hey, it was beautiful hanging with you. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for sticking around up to the end. I hope you are having a beautiful weekend, and yeah, until my next one, see you.